got this little visual here just so we can remember why it is we're doing what we're doing. And I don't want to just get us caught in the mechanics of working through a calculation, but remember the whole point of trying to figure out what my rate per hour is because we've got this cost object, whether that's a product or a service or a group of products or a group of services. We're trying to figure out what the cost is, and that's a combination of the labor, the direct material, and then these indirect costs. And these indirect costs are the overhead type items that we have a problem tracing. They don't trace to the cost object, so we have to accumulate these indirect costs in a cost pool and then allocate them to the cost object. And that's the whole point here, is to try to figure out how do we take these indirect costs and allocate them to the cost object. Okay, so we've got two manufacturing departments in the example that we're given, a milling department and an assembly department. And we're told that those indirect costs, remember this is a budgeted amount, is going to be 150,000 for the milling and 60,000 for the assembly. Okay, so we have two cost pools here, and we're going to allocate them to the cost object. Using normal costing means we take budgeted amounts, these are budgeted amounts, and we allocate them based on a budgeted allocation method or base rate of some sort. And so the problem tells us milling bases its rate on machine hours. So we take that $150,000 of budgeted overhead and we spread that out over the budgeted machine hours of 60,000. So the rate per hour is the budgeted costs divided by budgeted hours. It's $2.50 of overhead allocated for every budgeted machine hour in the milling department. Now the assembly area, that cost pool, is my manufacturing overhead of 60,000, and they don't allocate those costs based on a machine hour. Instead they do it on direct labor costs. So again, budgeted overhead costs divided by budgeted direct labor costs, 120. Means that for every $1 of direct labor we estimate or allocate or apply to this job, we have to add to it 50 cents of assembly overhead. So those are your rates using the normal costing method.